When a woman who ignored you for days suddenly sends a message, it feels confusing at first. You begin to wonder what changed. It can seem random, almost unexpected, but emotions rarely work like that. There is always a silent process behind the scenes. When you stopped reacting and gave space, something started shifting in her thoughts without you even noticing it at all. At the start, she likely felt in control. She expected a certain reaction from you. Maybe she thought you would chase her, send messages, or try to explain yourself. That expectation gave her emotional comfort. But when you did nothing, the situation changed. Now she is left with uncertainty, and uncertainty has a powerful effect. It slowly creates curiosity that keeps growing inside her mind over time. Curiosity is not loud, it builds quietly. She may not even realize it at first, but the more time passes, the more she starts thinking about you again.
Small thoughts turn into bigger ones. She starts asking herself questions. Why did you stop? Why are you not reacting anymore? These questions begin to stay in her mind longer, especially during moments when she has nothing else to focus on. Another important factor is emotional contrast. When you were present, your attention felt normal to her. She expected it. But when that attention disappears, it creates a gap. That gap is not easy to ignore. Over time, she begins comparing how she feels now versus how she felt before. And that difference slowly brings your presence back into her thoughts in a stronger way. Sometimes she may try to distract herself. She might talk to other people or stay busy. But distractions do not always replace emotional connection. In quiet moments, your absence becomes more noticeable. It is during those moments that her thoughts return to you again. Not because you forced anything, but because your absence created space for reflection to happen naturally over time. But it is very important to understand something here. Her message is not always about deep emotion or regret. In many cases, it is a form of testing. She is trying to see what has changed. She wants to know if she still has access to your attention. This is why the way you respond matters more than the message itself in that moment. Most men make the mistake of reacting too quickly. They feel relief, so they respond with excitement or emotion. But this removes the mystery that silence created. When you respond instantly, it shows that your emotional state has not changed, and that reduces the curiosity she was starting to feel. It brings everything back to the same place it was before the silence began. A calm and controlled response creates a different effect. When you take your time and stay neutral, she starts noticing the change. Now, she is no longer sure how you feel. And that uncertainty shifts the dynamic again. Instead of controlling the situation, she begins to observe you more carefully. She starts thinking about your behavior instead of expecting it. This shift may seem small, but it changes everything. Attraction often grows in situations where there is space to think and feel. When everything is predictable, emotions stay flat. But when there is distance and uncertainty, emotions begin to rise again slowly. That is why silence can be so powerful when it is done with patience and emotional control. As time goes on, her messages may become more frequent or slightly more engaging. This is not because you chased her, it is because she is trying to understand the new version of you. She is trying to reconnect in a way that feels different from before. And that process only works when you continue to stay grounded and do not rush back into old patterns again. You must remember that attraction is not rebuilt through words alone. It is built through behavior. The way you respond, the way you carry yourself, and the way you control your emotions all send a message without needing to say much. And that message becomes stronger when it is consistent over time, not just in one moment of interaction. In the end, her texting is not the final result. It is just the beginning of a new phase. What matters most is how you handle that moment. If you stay patient, calm, and aware, you allow things to develop naturally. And when things develop naturally, they tend to last longer and feel more real instead of forced or temporary.